Once I was talking to Thomas Merton, and he said, the moment you make anything out of anything, you're dead. Meditation practice is the practice that heightens our awareness of catching ourselves in the act of making something out of something. Meditation is the arena of childlike awareness in which we cease to run from the poverty of ourself, and we discover for ourself our ineptness in this silence, this capacity to be deeply attentive, to be deeply open in God's presence. The great death that arises in such practice is the death to all imagined power over any inability on our part to reach any spiritual goal. It's the great death to the imagined significance of our ability to reach any spiritual goal. I was once attending a retreat at which there was a priest who presided at the liturgy, and at the homily he made a reference to old-fashioned butter churns and noted how in India the paddle doesn't move up and down as we'd be accustomed to here in the United States, but rather the paddle moves back and forth. He said, notice in life how true it is that we take 10 steps forward and then slide back 8. Take 20 forward and slide back 30. Take 50 forward and slide back 300. And on it goes and on it goes. It's very discouraging until it begins to dawn on us that we're making butter. The butter that we're making is a heart that has grown rich with gratitude for how God loves us so in all our wayward ways. Thomas Merton says to laugh at the very notion of worthiness. The whole notion of linear attainment and then being disheartened because one cannot get there is itself an expression of the ignorance that is the estrangement from the contemplative experience of God already perfectly one with us in our poverty. Humility is the graced path along which we are set free from these confining illusions, and in which we discover directly for ourselves the generosity of God is the very reality of who we are. As a final text in this session, I'd like to share this passage from Thomas Merton in which he takes all this a bit deeper still. Merton writes, "The only full and authentic purification is that which turns a man completely inside out, so that he no longer has a self to defend, no longer an intimate heritage to protect against inroads and dilapidations. The full maturity of the spiritual life cannot be reached unless we first pass through the dread, anguish, trouble, and fear that necessarily accompany the inner crisis of spiritual death, in which we finally abandon our attachment to our exterior self and surrender completely to Christ." The image of being turned completely inside out is a very graphic image. Imagine that someone asks you to open your mouth, and they put their hand in your mouth, reach down your throat, all the way down, grab the inside of your big toe and yank on it, so you're inside out. It's a very embarrassing way to go to work in the morning. Now, there are moments in life in which it feels this way, that something happened that has turned us completely inside out. We lost something we never thought we could bear to lose. We underwent a crisis that seemed so cruelly unfair, so beyond what we're ever going to be able to deal with. Everything fell apart, and we're not handling it well, and everybody sees it. Now, maybe you went through this moment when you were a child. That is, you went through it when you were so small that there was no way that you participated in it. but were rather the innocent victim of those whom you had every right to expect would take care of you, keep you safe, and love you. Maybe the moment happened when you were older, and in some strange way you did participate in it. Ways that actually are very mysterious and hard to understand. But it happened, and turned completely inside out, nothing to hold on to, and everybody sees it. You're deeply humbled.